Hello everybody, this is Suzanne from Countdown to EBS. That's the Emergency Broadcast System Alerts, and also Unmasking the New Normal. It's August the 9th, 2021. And considering what we are counting down to with the EBS alerts is going to be that we are going to be watching an 8-hour movie to be brought up to speed about what has been going on in the world and what to expect next. I thought I would do a couple of short videos for you on who to trust and what to believe, because we've gotten to that point right now where there's been so much misinformation and disinformation. A lot of it has actually come through mainstream media and also social media, that nobody really knows who or what they can trust anymore. And in saying that, I just want to point out that if you are one of those people that has reached that point, I just want to say hallelujah and congratulations. Thank you for joining the club, because what that means is that you are no longer just willfully allowing your brain to be programmed by whatever the media has been feeding to us. And I say that because if you turn on the news, you can go from one channel to another. And I don't know if you've noticed, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the same stories over and over again. I think it's a funny story, but it's a perfect example of this. And it's very fitting for what is actually going on in the world right now, because it's about a storm. Anyways, I don't know if you know, you may have heard that we're in the storm or the calm before the storm. And there was a dinner at the White House, and I believe it was right after President Trump had been elected. And there was a group photograph, and it was a lot of the very, very top, let's just say, military people, and people from the White Hats, and people who have been involved in what's been going on in the world. And there was a group photograph there, and the media were there, and somebody said, what is this for? Like, what is this picture for? And President Trump says something to the effect of, well, maybe it's for the calm before the storm. And they say, what storm? What storm is this? And this is a perfect example of what can happen when we watch the media. So I'm in Vancouver, and I believe it was the October of 2016. And it was a beautiful sunny day like it is today. It was just an incredible day for October. And I was wanting to go out and do some stuff. I thought I'm going to get out and really enjoy the weather. And so I went out and I picked up some stuff to take out for lunch. And I was going to go to the beach and spend some time outdoors and just enjoy the day. And when I was out, I started hearing people, they're all stocking up and they're talking about the storm, and people saying, oh, are you ready for the storm? And I'm like, what storm are they talking about? You know, it's blue sky, sunshine. It was gorgeous. Anyways, I get home and there's people from my building all gathered outside, and they're like, oh, are you ready for the storm? Have you been getting stuff? I'm like, what storm are you talking about? And so I came in, and my neighbors in the building approached me. They opened the door and they said, oh, are you ready for the storm? And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's gorgeous outside. They said, no, there's a storm. It's been forecast. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so ridiculous, right? There was no sign of a storm whatsoever. And they said, oh, we're so scared because, we're afraid that, being in an older building, we're afraid that the windows are going to get blown out. Now, I will be honest, we had a massive storm here in Vancouver, which actually left its mark because it practically wiped out the seawall in West Vancouver, and it obliterated Stanley Park. It was unbelievable. As they say, they called Stanley Park the jewel of Vancouver. And it was just a disaster. You can look at photographs on it for days, weeks after. You just saw thousands of massive trees all laying on the roads through Stanley Park, and they were clearing them up, and it looked more like a logging camp. It was awful. So because of that, people had already had an experience. So now that they were hearing about this storm on the news, of course, people were fearful. Anyway, so here we are, October of 2016, and people are asking me if I'm ready. So I come inside and I thought, oh God, this is ridiculous. I turned on the news to see if there was anything about it. And sure enough, they were talking about this monster storm and saying that all of the, they've checked out all of the different weather monitors and they're all showing the same. And there's this massive storm coming our way. And then I went through the different weather channels, and sure enough, they were all saying the same thing. The monster storm, the perfect storm we were expecting. There wasn't as much as there was no air flowing at all. It was such a calm day and it was so beautiful and sunny. Anyways, as irritated as I was, I thought, well, I'm here by myself. My mum's gone away. My sister's gone away. They were in Florida or something on a conference. And I thought I'd better get some stuff just in case. So I just popped out and I bought some lights, that would come on in the dark and with there's no power or whatever. And I just got a couple of things and I was fine. And I thought, oh, I'm going to carry on with my day. But I come home and then everybody was freaking out about it. So I called a couple more people because now I was hearing that they were going to close the bridges. They were going to close Stanley Park Causeway, which they often do because of the huge trees. And that they were even talking about closing the ferries, which is not uncommon in a windstorm, but also the highways, which I have never heard of in all the years that I've lived in Vancouver. Because now people were not only reporting that there was going to be a storm, but now they were reporting that it had even already hit Seattle. So now, of course, there's evidence that there is a storm. They're showing that there's evidence, supposedly, that there is a storm. So now, you got to take it a little bit more seriously. So because they were going to close the bridges and because they were going to close the roads, I decided that, it's true. It was actually really scary. I sat up that night through the whole storm, when it wiped out Stanley Park, and it was scary. And I was here by myself, so I thought, I'm going to phone my brother-in-law and I'm going to ask if he can come in and pick me up and take me out to where they live, which is out in the Fraser Valley. So he did that. I actually filmed on the way out there. There wasn't a car on the road. It was unbelievable because, it's taken us sometimes up to 4 hours to drive out where they live just because the traffic is so bad. And, it was just unbelievable. Anyways, we get out there, we start making some food. It's still beautiful and sunny, and the storm is supposed to be hitting. I think it was about 6 o'clock or whatever. And we were watching the Weather Network and we were going back and forth in news. And you see all of these people, all of these news crews that are stationed all around different areas where there's usually problems. And they're all just dumbfounded because there is nothing. There's barely a ripple on the water. There is no sign of a storm, nothing. And guess what? That was as bad as it got. There was no storm. Nothing happened. Not a drop of rain. Not a gust of wind. I don't even know if we had a cloud in the sky. It was that ridiculous. And the reporters, especially the weather forecasters, they spent weeks apologizing. The reason I'm telling you this story is, number one, I just think it's funny, the timing of it and everything, because that would have been about the time when President Trump was actually elected and in the White House. And of course, we know all about the storm, right? But it's not just that. I want to really make the point of the influence that the media has on what people think, how people feel, and how people behave. And for the most part, most of these so-called reporters are nothing more than newsreaders. And they're talking heads. And all they are doing is reading off a teleprompter, whatever they're told, or they're showing clips. And even a lot of those clips are completely fake. They use people that are called crisis actors. I'm telling you that because if you do not believe me, I would like you to go and Google that. There are jobs for crisis actors all the time. And we see some of the same faces over and over again show up in these so-called massive disasters, which have turned out to be false flags. In other words, they have been created to create fear, often for the purpose of trying to bring in some new kind of a law. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, because I'm doing the countdown to EBS, and a lot of that is that the EBS is the emergency broadcast system, which is going to alert us to go in and watch this movie, this 8-hour movie, which I've spoken about in other videos. I wanted to make a few videos. In fact, I'm going to make a little series of short videos, and it's going to be focusing on who to believe, who to trust, or what to believe and what to trust. Because we have seen so much misinformation and disinformation. We have seen so much propaganda. We have seen masses and masses amounts of fear mongering, and that helps to fuel the fire, and it makes people feel as though they have no choice, and they give up their rights, and they turn their rights over, waiting to be told and waiting to be given permission to do things. And we've seen this over the last few years. So I'm going to end this video right now. If you haven't already done so, please go to my website and sign up for my updates on Countdown number 2, EBS.com. So that's EBS for Emergency Broadcast System.com. And I will keep you updated the best I can on what's happening with the emergency broadcast system, what we're going to hear, who's involved, and how the new normal is going to roll out. Okay, so please share, sign up. The best way to wake people up and to help people quell the fears is to have people know the truth. So I will see you in the next video, and it'll be a series of 2 or 3 videos on who to trust and what to believe. So I'll see you in the next video.